Half time here, 9-10 to 5-5. Both the teams back out there.
Macca, just going through some of the Richmond players too have had quiet first half. Nahas just 3 possessions. Revolt's just touched the ball once, Jack Revolt, so they've had nothing from their key forward. White's had 5 touches. Delidio has only had 8 touches and Jackson's had 8. Now they're well below their season averages for a half of football, so they need to get busy in this second half of footy.
9-10, 5-5. The margin was 9 points at quarter time. Sydney have been dominating the game. It's going to be a big ask for the Tigers to turn this situation around.
So it looks like Post has now gone to Goods at centre half back. Michael Voss, Justin Lepich looking on there.
Thrilling draw at this ground last night for Brisbane. Start of the third term. Thumped out of there by Jolly. 2 hands in the back on King. No free kick. Kirk's got it. Sydney move it forward inside the 50. Goods was held approaching that ball. No free. Slapped out of there by Post. We've called it pretty well, Tim. He's gone back in defence and he's dragged down.
Well, he's a very good centre half back at junior level. Took more marks than the other player in the under-18 competition. The other part about that passage of play that I really liked was his follow-up to the ball. Hit the ball, still went after it at the ground level.
Vickery backing off. Jolly going with him, looking to cramp the young man. Vickery did okay, although exposed wide of the pack. O'Keefe gets the footy. Dragged down in the nick of time by Delidio. Plenty of Tigers around the ball now. A little 1-2 Tambling. Got it from McMahon. Post just got free. Goes back to Tambling. I've got a feeling this is going to end badly. Jack is through. Jack going goalward. It did end badly.
You were spot on with the call there, Dennis. They just kept coming and coming, and that's the wonderful characteristic. There's Post just trying to get rid of the ball. He's actually looked like he's attacking the ball at least, but they weren't able to clear the danger zone, and they just kept coming. And what about that for balance? I mean, almost fell, able to get back up onto his feet. He's a wonderful little player, Kieran Jack, and that's the second goal he's scored against Ben Cousins, who he's tagging this afternoon.
Gee, was good on his feet there, Jack, with a couple. Gary March, the president of Richmond. So not a great day for the Tigers here. Jade Rawlings, 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw in the 7 games so far. They've won their last couple. They've been used to some close games, the Tigers. A draw, 5 points and 4 their last 3, but today they've been blown away.
Holding the ball. You had an arm free, Matt. You had an arm free. Straight back.
I just feel like Sydney rejuvenated over the last 2 or 3 weeks and could have a say in September, the way they're playing right now.
And you just about get the feeling Richmond's spirit's just about being killed off as well.
Yeah.
McVeigh, Goods work to the front. O'Loughlin tried to get rid of the man. Well done by Tambling. O'Loughlin's still got a kick away. Goods had a lovely little touch there. And then on the up to O'Keefe. O'Keefe under pressure, and that's out on the full. You think back, Tim, to last Saturday night. If the point had been the other way and they'd beaten the Saints, and gee, they'd nearly been the 8 tonight.
Not sure if he got much of the fist on that ball then, Goods, when he got it across to O'Keefe either.
Little throw, I think.
So Edwards in the back pocket. And the Tigers reeling at the present time. Thursfield from half back. And that's a terrible kick. Well, Vickery was moving on. Thursfield was dropping it in short.
He wasn't watching the flight of the ball then, though, Vickery. I mean, he's a young player. He's going to get better than that. But you actually just do have to play the ball on its merits.
Bit of hair there too, Tim. It's hard to look back over your shoulder. Dwyer's got it. Kicks inside the forward 50. McVeigh from behind. Got it in front. Taken by Kirk. Upended. Here's Jack again deep in the pocket. He's got a sniffers, Jack. Puts it across the front of goal. And it bounces out of bounds. Like the looks of Jack. Only his 44th game. He really has adapted. There he is. That last goal he got was like a sobbing woman armed with a harpoon gun going into a sports bar. You knew it was going to end badly. Tossed in. Slapped out of there by Jack. Well done. Barlow went to ground. Stealing away with it. Delidio.
Running hard here. Kicks to centre wing to Hislop. And also Roberts-Thompson. Well done in the end. Grundy decided to stay with his man, and then Hislop's kick is a good one. Brown probably should have taken it. Jim Matten has done well here. He likes the situation, Matten, to run hard, keeps the ball down low. White the target. in a good spot. Ablett couldn't quite get a handle on it though, and Thursfield got a hand in there.
Line.
And the ball up.
Straight up. Yep. Straight up. Thank you. Run home.
So Mattner able to take that away. That would have been a dangerous bar. Jolly. Second give. O'Dwyer. McMahon's tackle. Cut off well by Hanbury. Back to McMahon. Now he looks up. Oh, that's very dinky. Brown up to it. Goes back to Deledio. And then Deledio with a low kick. Morton couldn't quite. It was a tough ball to mark, but he made good position. And then Craig Bolton working it in front. He'll be happy for it to run out, and it does.
It was a really tough ball to mark, but that first kick from McMahon, how many times have we seen this today where he's made kicking errors just too low? I mean, look, he puts Brown under enormous pressure to pick the ball up. He did well to do that, but he should have been able to just go back and set something up by foot.
Moore missed the football. Cousins in desperate trouble. McVeigh has it now. Back to O'Keefe. Up from the back pocket. Goes to the outer side. Coming up. Bounces off the chest of Hanbury. Keeping it in. O'Dwyer falls into the back though of Newman. Newman gets the free kick. And the crowd becoming a little frustrated. The Tigers taking a step back so far this afternoon. Morton forced to spoil from behind Gundy. Grabs it. Pulls it across the face of goal, and it goes through for a behind.
Mickey, what's the situation, Rick, with Crouch?
Well, he's actually on the bike at the moment, Bruce. I reckon his day's over. They've put a compression bandage on his thigh. You can see they're trying to loosen up, but the signs what I've seen, his day's over. And also Jude Bolton, I mentioned at half-time. He came off after about 3 minutes of this quarter and wanted some more treatment on that hip complaint I mentioned at half-time.
Well, that's a real problem for them down to rotation. So the Tigers just really need to hang in here.
Tambling's kicked to a bit of a hot spot. Kirk got involved. Little give was okay from White to Cousins. Then Cousins, well done, Reece Shaw. Got a fist away to Tambling. Can he get enough on it? He won't. Mattner back.
That's such good defensive play there by Mattner. Just saw that there were enough players up at the contest. Just drifted back into the hole.
But as Rick said, they might be 2 down, the Swans. Trouble with Richmond, they're probably 2 down on the scoreboard. If they were within 2 or 3, you'd think they could be dangerous. They're probably too far back. Grundy loping out of defence, 3 running bounces, and then kicking along to O'Loughlin. It was a lovely kick. Good give, and gives it to Goods. Still not much of a kick by Goods.
Good play, Moore.
Quick off the mark, Moore, and now Polo.
Polo, spare man on the wing, comes to Brown. Up quickly, Shaw closes him down. Brown spots King, needs to go here, gets to the footy a metre in from the line.
King's been playing on Reece Shaw as a defensive tight forward. I'd drop that now. I mean, King actually could go on the ball and become quite a powerful player for the Tigers. They just need some hard nuts in there.
Well, he did well then, King. Brown, a beautiful kick, laid it in front of him. King hit the deck. Morton wants to fight Roberts-Thompson. I wouldn't recommend that.
What about the weight on that kick? It was just perfect.
It was like a quarterback's throw to a wide receiver, wasn't it? Just laid it in front of him. The man had to go and get it.
Montana to Jerry Rice.
Sort of.
20 seconds.
Bit rich for Richmond, but that was good. King. That's a nice kick. That's a beautiful kick. A regal kick. He puts it through. They needed that.
Now, I don't know whether he's got the engine or not, Jake King. I think he has got a reasonable engine. He's a very fit player, but he has played that defensive role in the first half on Reece Shaw. Now, that's not where they're losing the game at the moment. Reece Shaw's a half-back flanker. They're trying to stop his run. At the moment, they're actually losing the contest around the clinches, and I reckon that's where they need a bit more strength and a bit more substance. As we see, Reece Shaw is actually going into this centre bounce, and Jake King's actually staying on the outside, so he'll be free at half-back.
First time he's kicked 2 goals in a match. King got one in the opening quarter. Shane Tuck.
Well, he is an inside player there next to Rains, next to Troy Simmons. I reckon they miss his strength around the stoppages, Tuck.
He's been out for the last 3, admitted, after playing 100-odd consecutively, Tuck.
Well, they want some speed. That's what they've tried to inject into this side. But there's a real balance that you need to achieve with your midfield. You need your inside players as much as you need the outside players carrying the ball. At the moment, I reckon they've got the wrong balance, Richmond.
Just feel they're a goal away, though, Tim, from maybe making this interesting. Remembering that Crouch and Bolton are in trouble. Well done by Moore to Pike. Back to Moore. His strength got him through, and then O'Keefe. He's got goods on. That's a lovely kick.
It's hard on a kid, isn't it, playing on a superstar player like Adam Goods, but the experience will be worth it for Jaden Post this afternoon. Now, he may get a toweling up by Goods, but he's done that in the first half to a more experienced player too. That is, talking about weight on a kick, that is just perfect. He lost his man there, Post.
Well, he's just kicked the one goal, Goods, but he's looked so dangerous today. He'd had more disposals than any other Swan in the first half, playing from centre half forward. 1 goal, 3. He's kicked 27 for the season. He's got that, and well, I guess it's a steadier in a way. They maintain this big advantage.
Ryan O'Keefe too's had 14 touches this afternoon, really reinvented himself as a real genuine midfield type player this season. Here's the escape. Ryan O'Keefe just getting back. He's kicked just before half-time to White too. When he recognised, he got to the midfield, he realised and recognised that White was one out at the top of the square. A beautifully weighted kick to him and a beautifully weighted kick then to Adam Goods.
Be a chance for the Brownlow again, Goods.
They've had quite a few dominant players, but he certainly is the most dominant. Adam Goods with 2 goals, and they skip away. Out by 34 points now. The margin was 29 at half-time. Good bounce to restart. Graham taps it down. Nahas hasn't been a factor. And the umpire, I think, will ball it up again. It's not coming out.
Well done,
Jude Bolton, the base of that. You made a very good point, Tim, about Tuck not playing. I mean, this, when you're playing Sydney, is all about having a street fight, isn't it?
Yep.
And they don't have the players in to win a street fight on what we've seen today. Having said that, the Tigers have had a very good record against Sydney in recent times. Falling to the ground, Smith at close quarters to Ablett. Another bounce.
You've got to recognise the mood of the game, and the mood of the game right now is that they've got to find some Richmond players who are prepared to really work hard inside the contest, start winning the ball, and then you can start spreading the ball once you've actually got your hands on it.
This is a Tuck sort of game, isn't it?
It is. It's exactly what you need a Shane Tuck in your side for.
Rance takes them on. At least they've moved it quickly to the outer side. Nahas needs to go forward, not back. Lays the ball into the path of Tambling. Now this could be interesting. Tambling runs away from Ablett, corralled. Ablett did brilliantly, came back into the contest, smothered the ball across to Smith, swings it beyond the wing, and again the difference in kicking. Goods took the mark. O'Loughlin's on a lead, and he takes the mark just inside the centre square. Shaw is running towards goal. O'Loughlin, a little indecisive, just puts it in the air to White, and he'll mark it. Oh, well, he should have. Through his fingertips. Vickery goes back, close to the boundary line, Vickery. He wants this out.
He was lucky then, Vickery. Here's a great smother here. Great one-on-one play here by Ablett. Just watch this. Just stays with the ball. I reckon that's been one of the great developments in the game of football this season. How many times have you seen players actually smother a ball like that?
So Moore running onto this. Couldn't quite keep his feet. Got it back to O'Dwyer. Gee, that's an interesting kick. Wow.
He's hurt himself more too. That was a 3-on-1 then, though. Sydney in their forward line, outnumbering Richmond at the actual contest.
Tigers got a good result in the end. Free kick. Wide to Jackson. Tim talked about Jackson, 8 disposals to half-time. Gee, put White under pressure. He was another one of the guys who was down in the first half, and O'Keefe's got him.
You just don't break their tackles. But that's, I mean, really, that's the error of Jackson not hitting the target in the first place, then put White under pressure. And we've seen that too many times this afternoon.
Well, O'Keefe started a bit sloppily today, but he's just got better and better, and he has been hitting targets today, and that's very good. And Mickey O'Loughlin gets his first chance today, really, to have a shot for goal.
He has become a real weapon, hasn't he, O'Keefe, with his field kicking? Here's the kick, the poor kick here by Jackson. He was running one way and he actually tried to kick the ball back a little bit the other way, so all his weight, he imbalanced himself, but that's a beautiful kick to O'Loughlin on the lead.
He's played 36 games at the MCG, Mickey, including those famous grand finals, 3 of them. He's kicked 66 goals here, so he's averaged close to 2 goals a game. Is that coming back? It is not making the distance, so Polo.
Right, 3-on-1. Think your way through.
Polo. That's okay so far. Edwards beat one man and then settles down and used the footy. Well, that's a terrible kick. O'Dwyer. O'Keefe. Grundy. Bolton's. Craig Bolton kicks inside the forward 50. O'Loughlin from the side. His ball always can just play on. Moore was on the ground and 2 Tigers 5 metres away. Didn't bother picking up the mark.
Well, that was as ugly as you could possibly get from Richmond's perspective, but for Mickey O, it was a beautiful passage of play, the mark and then the run on and then the goal. There's the turnover again coming off half-back. There's Edwards, the turnover. Sydney had the players, the numbers around the ball. They were able to work their way through. And then they had that fat side space here. Really, Moore should have made more of that. He should have hit the body, should have hit the ball, missed everything. And then there's 2 Richmond players there dreaming around the contest.
There's a bit of O'Loughlin for Sydney and oh dear for Richmond there, wasn't it?
Oh dear for Jade Rawlings too, because it's unravelling here at the MCG.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have been a 300th without a Mickey O gem, and we got one there. So Sydney certainly away now, doubling the score. Deledio, Newman squeezing it out. Good mark, Roberts, Thompson. It's had a very good match.
They just haven't been able to penetrate at all into their forward line, have they?
Well, the man he's on, I don't think's had a disposal. Has he, Revolt?
One touch.
One touch, okay. So Smith wide, Hanbury,
Who that?
McVeigh.
Smith to Hanbury, 2 kids spot on with their kicks.
Oh,
Well done, Vickery. Unfortunate there. Now Goods. Well, he can stroll in and kick his 3rd. And he does.
so you can't blame the 2 young fellas in. Both showing courage, both going towards the ball. Here's the collision again. There's Posters canning it into the back of Vickery. Actually came off worse than Vickery in this collision. And Adam Goods just staying down. There it is again. That's great play by Vickery. You actually want to see that from a young player. But in the end, I mean, it was just led to such an easy goal. Revolt just coming from the ground now, just 1 possession. He's got to do more than that. He's got to, at least if you can't get the ball, you've got to get involved in the game. That's a sickening collision, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Vickery off the ground. Oh, jolly, terrific. O'Keefe, McVeigh, Shaw behind, goes out very wide. Hanbury, like the look of him. Hanbury just forward of the wing. Hugs the boundary with the kick, not his best kick, falls behind. O'Keefe just wrenches it away from Deledio. Got boot to ball while lying on the ground. Scrambled forward by Ablett. Missed by Post. O'Loughlin. Now a chance for Barlow. Can't count that as a possession. Jack. Stolen away by Polo. Well done. Now Morton runs towards centre half back. Cousins their best player. Kicks beyond the wing. Matner. Well, he should have punched. A little cocky there. Hislop got the ball on the ground. Morton followed up. Kicks inside the forward 50. And going back, it's gathered by Morton, Grundy, and Sydney bring it out.
To Matner. Finds that left foot. And then Jack uses Shaw. He's got a couple of options, Shaw. He's gone wide to Hanbury again. Good mark. First game of the MCG. What a future you reckon he's got. Craig Bolton long to Goods. Well, it's a commanding performance this Indigenous player plays his 250th against Geelong next week, Adam Goods, and his great mate Mickey O's playing his 300th today.
They can smell blood in the water though now, can't they, the Sydney Swans? You get that feeling that they all want to get involved in the game now, and they're running hard forward. They're sensing that they've got Richmond on their knees.
Well, if the Dockers were happen to have some success today against Port Adelaide, the Swans would be sitting at the foot of the 8 tonight and looking a bit lively. And he's kicked 4 goods, 3 in this term.
They haven't been able to stop Adam Goods, but that's not their main problem. Their main problem is they haven't been able to stop the flow of the ball. Sydney have been able to swing off half-back. They've been able to open up the play, run, carry the ball. Their midfield's been overpowering Richmond in the clinches as well. So, I mean, the end product of all that is that there's too much ball supply going that way, and Adam Goods is really the star player in the forward line, and Richmond hasn't had a defender that's been able to close him down.
Adam Goods unstoppable. 4 goals, his best here at the MCG. Of course, his career high, 8 against Fremantle in round 19 last season. He's a round 19 man. Pike wins it down. McVeigh wrestled down by White.
Good tackle, tackled immediately.
Adds a little
Thanks,
mustard.
boys, straight up.
Ball up.
When they played so well against St Kilda last Saturday night, I just thought it was one of those one-off type performances where they got themselves up for a game. But they've carried that form over into this game, and I mean, they've looked as impressive today as they have all year.
Matner towards half forward. Goods again. Post out manoeuvred by Goods. Well done. Hanbury, well, chopped off by Newman towards the boundary line, and out it goes. Interesting, one Swan player is having a down day. That's Barlow. Just the 1 possession so far, but he's on the ground. He got his wish. He was eager early. He lost that goal through an interchange infringement. He started the second half on the ground. I think they're leaving him there. It's safer. It's out of bounds in the pocket.
The other bloke I've been reasonably impressed with today. He's still got a long way to go, but Pike, not so much for anything that he's done around the ground, but his tack work has been really intelligent and good. And when you consider he's only been in the system for less than 12 months, I mean, there's a huge upside for his work as well.
He was involved there, O'Keefe. Good tackle on Newman.
He's under the tutelage of one of the great exponents of ruck work of all time too, Steve Torbett, who's been at Sydney for a long time.
Well, Jolly's last 4 or 5 years has been a revelation.
Oh, he's taken ruckman on and just made them superstars, Torbo.
Here's White. Got a feeling there's a bit of insider trading going on, Dennis, that we don't know about. Jack running back hard. Smith with him. Jack decides to take Cousins on. Well done. It was a good decision. Found Goods.
Tim, when do you think Poster's learned enough? I think you've got to move him, in fairness to the boy now, don't you?
Well, he's got to make every post a winner though now.
Here's Jack. So Jack going long, and Polo. And whistle went early, but Polo's mark. I think that was a free kick to Sydney.
Michael O'Loughlin. Luke grabbed his jumper from the front. It's a clear hold. Thanks, Dane. Straight to him when he turns around.
I mean, the options are, I mean, what Jade Rawlings, he can kill the contest if he wants to. He can put extra players behind the ball. He can double team Adam Goods. But what's that really going to teach his players at this stage of the game, this stage of the season? He's wanting to see what they're prepared to do one-on-one where they can be exposed.
So there's the O'Loughlin free kick. Only 5 times this year in 18 games have the Swans got to 100 points in a match. They're about to get there now. So they're really freed up today, aren't they?
They've split Richmond open.
After that arm wrestle early, they've broken this game up. So O'Loughlin surely for a second in his 300th. Well, yep. Goods and O'Loughlin having big third quarters.
Coming from the ground now, Mickey O'Loughlin for a bit of a spell. No, he's actually going to stay out there. The runner just said to him, no, you stay out there. Kieran Jack again. I just love the work of Kieran Jack. You know, players do get away from him at different stages of the game, but he's just one of those players who just sticks to his task. He's a hard worker. He runs hard. He's a physical player as well. And he hasn't actually been playing the game too long himself, so he still has some upside.
Mickey O'Loughlin. Terrific stuff. he and Goods at the present time putting on something of a clinic. Made his debut round 595, kicked 3 goals that day against the Crows.
Delidio to Goods now.
His first opponent was the very talented Rod Jamison. 95. We go back a long way. There's Barlow applying a tackle on Jackson. I suppose in a perverse way this could help Jade Rawlings get the job. A few of the candidates might ring first thing on Monday morning. So they're busy next window. Up towards the wing. Jackson will get a free.
Daniel Jackson! Daniel Jackson!
Jackson spots a man, King, by himself, cruising past his white. Now he needs to beat McVeigh, and he does it. 55 metres out. Needs to spot Vickery, and he does.
Boys, back with my boys, keep coming.
So that would be close to the most positive bit of play we've seen from Richmond all day, isn't it? Where midfield's actually broken and been able to deliver the ball to one of their forwards within kicking distance. We see an injury here to Jared McVeigh. There he is reaching for the tackle there. I just wonder whether he might have done his hamstring there. He seems to be limping. It wouldn't have been a finger. I thought his finger might have got caught in the jumper, but Ricky Olrenshaw will be all over that down on the boundary line.
He will. Vickery, meantime, splits the middle with a kick.
Well, coming into this game, one of the real worries I thought for Sydney Swans would have been the pace of Richmond, the fact that they've been able to run and carry the ball. And so few we've seen an occasion here where a tackle from a Sydney Swans player hasn't stuck. We see McVeigh there. I reckon he has done his hamstring. That may be the end of the season for him. But so often they've been actually able to make these tackles stick and impede the player, hold the player up, enabling another Sydney Swans player to come to the tackle. On that occasion, he got free.
Well, Tim Watson, your diagnosis was spot on, mate. He has done a hamstring when he tried to chase down White. He grabbed the back of his right. He seen him stretch out for White. He's gone down, and straight away there he knew he'd done his hamstring, grabbed the back of his leg. When he got to the bench, he actually punched the wall as well, so he knows he's going to be out for probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Out with the hamstring, Ricky, or the broken hand?
No, it's the hamstring, Tim. Hamstring, mate, not the hand. You were close.
So it's a big out, isn't it, McVeigh? Gee, Edwards running into a couple but taken high.
Let him go. Play on.
Now uses McMahon. McMahon's short kick again, not a good one. Kirk couldn't get any momentum up, and Nahas dashed forward, but Kirk smiling at the end because he found the footy. Smith put Moore under a bit of pressure. Moore turned his body as he so often does cleverly. That low gravity, and White runs it over the line.
Jack Revolt's back out on the ground now, and I reckon the instruction would have been, I reckon Jade Rawlings would have spoken to him on the phone and said, look, you've got to get involved in this game. You cannot be a non-contributor. You've got to at least get a tackle in there, get your body involved in the game. Do something. There you go.
Pike knocked it down. Bolton tackled by Revolt.
Straight up. Body.
Gee, Tim's scary today, Dennis.
I like him when he's like this. Bit of aggro. The other side of the mild-mannered reporter. Barlow, well, almost got his second kick. Nahas. Cousins across the ground. King tried to stop it. Only get one chance. Shaw's gone. Bolton. Sydney storming forward. Goods. Oh.
Play on yours.
Okay, Barlow. All is forgiven.
Now the problem there is, again, Richmond's kick in the midfield didn't hit its target. So what happens here, as soon as that kick, as soon as Ben Cousins looked to be moving forward, Delidio moves off his man, right? So he runs forward. He's going to be initiated. He's going to be involved in that passage of play. They want him to run and create from half back. So he moves up the ground. He gets out of position, the turnover, and then Good sits back there. He doesn't actually go with Delidio, actually cheats, but in the end he sets up the goal.
So Barlow's feeling pretty good about himself now. The Swans have got 7 goals in this quarter, only the 4th time this year. Racing away from Richmond. And the bad story, McVeigh's done a hamstring. Rance.
Throw. Not a legal disposal. That's it, Alex. Thanks.
He's a bit like an ungainly colt at times, Rance, isn't he? There's good kick by O'Keefe. Grundy.
What a difference, though, every time Sydney get the ball, how many options they have compared to Richmond this afternoon, who have been prepared to work one way, but not necessarily been prepared to work just as hard going back the other way.
He took 4 contested marks against the Saints last week, Grundy. He's become a very solid contributor. Good size. They're playing him in the back half most of the time. And that one fading a lot, in fact.
I think I just saw Colin Montgomery in the crowd. McMahon.
Could you imagine if Colin Montgomery barracked for Richmond? He'd be in a really bad mood today, wouldn't he?
Just imagine his caddy. Short one comes to Rance. Rance has got it left half back. Vickery is calling for it. It'll go in that direction then. Ablett comes. Vickery completely mistimed his jump and the ball goes out of bounds. Tim, did you have a hair policy as a coach?
A hair policy?
A hair policy.
Vickery.
No, I'm just asking about Vickery.
Oh, yeah, well,
No.
Spider Everett turned up the first training session with red hair. I
not
told him to
him.
get rid of that. He turned up with green hair. And then I told him to stop that, and he turned up with amber hair.
If you were coaching Richmond, would you say something about that haircut, or
No.
those days are gone?
No, those days are gone.
There, oh, okay.
Oh,
Well done. Stolen away by Roberts Thompson. O'Loughlin's got it. Running is Dwyer down towards the pocket. Spots him now. Nice kick too. Gave him as good an angle as he could expect.
they've just about given up, the Tigers, and that's a terrible thing to say about a team, but they have actually stopped running now. They're quite prepared to run if they think they're going to get the ball, but when it goes back the other way, they are not working at all.
Now, when you played, there would have been a hair policy. I hate to go back to that, but I remember back in the 60s under Polly Farmer, we had to ask permission to have our eyebrows. Here's Dwyer. Gary March not happy. Dwyer happy.
I would love to know how many times this afternoon Richmond have turned the ball over, either by hand or by foot, at critical parts of the ground too. When they're on the march, players moving forward, there's the interception there by Lewis Roberts-Thompson. And they've been so clean though too, Sydney, since probably about quarter time. Maybe that's because there hasn't been enough pressure on them, but their field kicking has just been outstanding this afternoon, Sydney.
11 goal kickers for the Swans today. Dwyer's done very well.
Their spread all year's been pretty good, actually, if you look at the goal kickers they've had.
And their main man now that Hall has retired, Goods has got most of them with O'Loughlin behind him. So this has been a massive third quarter for Sydney. Historically, one of their best ever. They're within a point of their best ever against the Tigers over the stretch. Vickery's little left footer. Newman. Back to Rance. Centering kick. Good mark by Matner. Quickly off. Roberts-Thompson, this defence, he's led this defence magnificently today. Matner's done well. Grundy's done well. And speaking of Grundy, so terrific third term. 8-goal quarter to the Swans, 8-2. Goods really setting the scene. And Mickey O getting a couple. So a real disappointment for that man. Not for him. 112-48 at three-quarter time on Sunday Footy at the G.
And that's, I reckon that's a really good point you make, because the game was always going to be played in the trenches today. And now we see Adam Goods with his fourth opponent for the day. Jack Revolt has been sent behind the ball. And there's no place to hide there, Jack.
Start of the final term of the MCG. Graham opposed to Jolly. Jolly won it on the way down. Graham goes after it. Bolton could have been pushed in the back. No free. McMahon lost it. Jude Bolton goes again. Tackled by Tambling. In goes Jackson.
So no win position now for Richmond, though, as if they actually do show some vigour in this final quarter. Everyone turns around and says, well, where's it been for three quarters? Well, probably, I reckon they gave a bit. They were competitive maybe for a quarter, three quarters of this, or the first quarter.
So Kirk's free kick, but Tim is a whole lot better than the alternative.
Well, I guess it is, but it still leaves the same question marks against the players, doesn't it?
So Kirk is going to look for White, I think, with a long ball. White and Thursfield, Hanbury, and also Newman. Hanbury got hold of it again.
Plenty of hands in there. Hard to pick that. Thanks, Richard. Straight up, Chris.
This defence of Sydney today has been miserly, hasn't it? I mean, talking about their back, their back five, their back six today, because Reece Short's actually pushed up the ground.
White blocking, play on.
So Graham probably just won it, and then Tambling put the tackle on.
On again. Thanks, buddy.
They don't get too many chances to play at the MCG, the Swans. We saw them against Hawthorn here, where they were probably a bit stiff a few weeks ago. Kirk, Graham.
Knock it out! Who's got it, boys?
Well, this is how the match started a bit, isn't it?
Still there. Thanks, straight up.
A lot of stoppages.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, it just means that Richmond are actually working a little bit harder.
Can they sustain it?
No, you're both wrapping up, Darren.
Graham, caught by Matner.
Fine.
This
You're
is
both
just
knocking out,
grist for Sydney's mill, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you've got to open the game up. You've just got to force it. You've got to get these people around the edges a little wider, because you're not going to beat Sydney doing this. Not that they're going to beat Sydney. Down goes Matner. He's pushed in the back.
Chris Newman.
It's going to be a free kick for Newman. Incorrect disposal. So good break for the Tigers. Newman looks across the ground. Revolt is moving. Goods is going with him. Revolt leads back in the race. Goods has got him, wrapped him up. Revolt fell to the ground. Goods has got the footy. O'Loughlin's on. O'Loughlin down towards half forward. Jesse White is powering towards goal, or is it? Yes, it is. It's White. No, he bypasses White. Long down towards full forward. From behind, the leap came from Hanbury. It was fisted away across the line there. I think it was Polo. It was behind.
Just had 12 touches this afternoon, Hanbury, but he looks like he's going to be a real player, doesn't he, for maybe the next 10 years. And this has been part of what Paul Roos has tried to do. He's got pace, he's got good leg speed. They've been able to inject a little bit of outside speed into their side. And they'll need to do that. They'll need to continue with that.
It's been a good year for rookie left-footers in the competition, hasn't it? Blonde rookie left-footers. I saw one here last night kick a couple of goals. Good Daniel Ritchie's had a pretty fair year.
Can't he kick a ball?
Sure can. Speaking of kicking a ball, Richmond has not done that well today. O'Dwyer's third game, playing very well. Grundy to Craig Bolton. And switches it up to Smith. Real role player for the Swans. Now Goods, well, he's made his first blue for the day.
He just looks like he's lost all his confidence, doesn't he, Revolt? Now, Bolton started on him. We know he's an All-Australian defender, Bolton. He's one of the best in the competition, and that's the sort of effect that he can have on a player. Revolt actually gone back now, but he still doesn't look like he's got any confidence whatsoever. He's shot after 3 quarters almost on Bolton.
We saw him kick half a dozen here, 3 weeks ago, didn't we?
Jolly, cleverly. Bolton down towards full forward. Howell bounce. Well, Moore. Almost the Irish whip. He's holding the ball.
Oh, that was a chicken wing tackle.
One arm free, you just put the ball on the ground.
So Ed Barlow gets the free kick in the pocket. Not much you can do there. That's just bad luck.
That's a perfect tackle. And that's the thing about Sydney. Apart from the fact they've kicked 17 goals this afternoon, their tackling has been as good as you will see from a side.
Well, holding hands there, weren't they?
That's right. That last one is hard to practice. And you hope they do it at a closed session. This ball misses to the near side.
Sydney.
Well, there's a lot of love in that club.
He's going nowhere more.
It's 11 goals the margin here. Swans are going to have their big win for the year, you would think.
Darren Jolly held 2 arms. Darren Jolly.
It's a great mark then by Bedelio too. Great strong packed mark there.
So Jolly goes long, looking for White, can't quite get there. There's Revolt. And he does get the big cheer from the fans, so a quiet day for him. Put it down to a learning experience. Free kick.
Look, he hasn't shown a lot this afternoon, Post, but he's going to be a player. And so too will Revolt. I mean, when he just narrows the gap between his best and his worst, he'll be a good, valuable contributor.
First kick for post today. But he's the sort of guy, Dennis, that might get a coach ringing up Monday and say, yeah, I'm still interested.
Probably right, Bruce. McMahon. But it's a sobering thought for some of these guys who want to coach Richmond. I think today tells you there's still a fair way to go. Ball's out of bounds.
That's the thing about coaching, though. You've got to back yourself, don't you? You've got to back your own philosophies. You've got to decide, OK, I'm going to take the job, and then I'm going to actually make a difference with a group of players.
Tossed in. Cousins almost stole it away. White pushed off the line of the ball by Pike. Bolton gets the free kick too high.
15, no need for that. Tell him to F off, abuse.
Against Cousins.
I reckon Ray would be used to it.
So Cousins having a bit to say. Razor Ray not happy. Bolton goes short to Moore. So Moore will kick it goal from about 40 metres out directly in front. Lachlan moving to the pocket. So in effect away from the contest. Moore, will he get the distance? Not only the distance but the accuracy straight through the middle.
Hasn't had the busiest of afternoons, Jared. Moore had 13 possessions, kicked 2 goals. He's worked hard as well. And I think that's the thing about the Sydney forwards. Even when the ball bounces out of their direct area, they're quite prepared to work hard. We talked about it earlier in the game where they had 10 tackles in this side. They're attacking 50 in that first quarter. They had been averaging 11 coming into the game. So they worked hard defensively as well as offensively.
So the Cousins after that a verbal on Ray Chamberlain. They kicked 15 of the last 19 goals here, Sydney. It was 3 goals apiece at one stage. It's now 18-7.
It's a shot lacking, isn't it?
And suddenly, Tim, you sort of think to yourself, well, a month ago, Geelong at the SCG versus Sydney's a mismatch. Now, next Saturday night, Geelong at the SCG against the Swans, suddenly is a...
Even money bet.
So the Swans rejuvenating their season late. That was clever by O'Keefe to half forward. Goods trying to turn his man inside out. Out wide. Newman on the left. Well done, Newman. He broke a tackle or 2. Now trying to find some space. He looks up now. Goods still chasing. Still with Newman. Goods just barges over McMahon. Newman now poised. Not a good kick after all that. Bolton. Little handball to Reshaw. Reshaw tucks it under his arm and out they come. The switch is on. Ablett will use the run maybe of Hanbury. No. Decided not to. Now they're going to go to Pike. So there you go. And he did it well.
Hanbury. They've got the loose man. Well done by Smith. He looks a likely type too. Goods from behind. Won't get to the contest. Good mark in front. Taken by Post.
Adam, 2 metres, mate. Adam.
This is just a terrible bit of play here, but the problem with that was actually Post led right up the ground, and in the end he was shepherding for Newman, and then Newman kicked the ball to Post direct opponent Bolton, who'd actually gone back to half back.
Nahas to the corridor, and Newman 48-120. Sydney on top in the red and white. Tambling forward of the wing, looks for Morton. Getting his hands to it, Grundy. Morton grabs the footy and kicks a goal. Been a long time coming.
A long time coming, and Morton, his first goal for the afternoon. And even this last kick didn't really. It wasn't clean. I mean, Grundy probably should have taken that ball. But he's such an opportunist. Morton maybe even pushed Grundy out with his hands there, but the umpire let it go. They've just become a little bit more relaxed in the application of that rule.
Had a few chances early today, Morton, didn't he? Goods has been the dominant player on the ground. 19 kicks as a centre half forward.
12 contested possessions in all that too, Macca.
Yeah.
He's worked in all aspects and all areas of the game.
When he has a big day, it really counts, doesn't it? Ablett's kick inside. Barlow, little juggle. Edwards, well done. Fetched it really well and then takes off to Cousins in the back half. Cousins running through the centre. Gives to White. White with a bounce. Gets within range. 50 metres out. Going and going. Where's that been all day?
Well, I reckon the Tigers will nominate him for the 100-metre sprint on grand final day because he's actually just carried the ball on the MCG for about 100 metres and without bouncing the ball. There's really good play there by Edwards to get it over to Cousins, who just spent a short time on the bench. There he is, one bounce. He's run a long, long way there. And the hardest part when you do run that fast and hard with the ball is to finish it off like he did then. We have seen that all too rarely this afternoon.
So the margin 60 points, a couple of back-to-back goals for the Tigers. We were talking about Adam Goods before. He's the only Swan who's played every minute of this game. Knocked down by Pike. He goes again. Head down. Jackson taken down. Edwards, Vickery, Cousins. Hasn't stopped trying, Ben Cousins. King. Suddenly, spring in their step, the Tigers. Towards half forward, the King kick. Leading back in the race is Brown. Matner is closing. Brown worked off the footy by Matner. And he's going to get the free. Can't believe it.
They've only taken the ball inside 30 times this afternoon, Richmond. So in the analysis of this game, people will look at the stats of Brown and they'll say, look, he's been a poor contributor. But when you think about it, they actually haven't had that many opportunities as forwards.
Is the future any more with Brown than with somebody like Bowden? There's Goods.
I think there's only, I mean, it's probably an age thing. There might be a couple of years difference between Brown and also Bowden.
Goods along the boundary. A lot of times today he's gone looking for his mate and generally found him. O'Loughlin with precision. Oops. Jesse's got to mop that up a little bit better. One area of his game that hasn't helped him today. That one about face high. He's dropped a couple. O'Loughlin on the 50. They're queuing up in the middle. He goes to the goal square. This could bounce through. No, in fact, Jolly lunged at it at the last minute. Pushing it across the line is Moore. Not sure there was much pressure there, but given the chaos that has been Richmond today, maybe the umpire thought, well, there was a Richmond player in the vicinity.
Cousins wide to Deledio.
Just had 11 touches this afternoon, Brett Deledio. Hasn't been his best afternoon. Jared Moore just getting bundled over the line. Took a while to get up in the hands of the trainers for about 20 or 30 seconds he was.
So Pike and Jolly double teaming. He's a resilient character, Bolton. We've had him on the bench for a few times today, but he's come back. Deledio to Cousins, racking up the posies again. Kicking to centre half forward. Then Thursfield over the top. Now King, who's already kicked two, which is a career high. Is that coming back for a third? No, he's missed. Good opportunity wasted there.
Just over time at the Sydney Swans, the game just starting to open up for the first time this afternoon. Jade Rawlings on screen there. Well, he's going to have plenty to think about as he plots the composition of this side for next week and maybe even over the next 3 weeks. Who to leave in, who to leave out.
Got Collingwood next week, which will be a big crowd, you'd think, here.
Bet you the Swans will be taking a fair bit of interest in the game in Perth now. I mean, if Port Adelaide lose, then suddenly Sydney will be behind them, but with a better percentage. Better percentage than the incumbent. Strong tackle on Polo. Slips a hand pass away. Thursfield. Revolt. In and out of trouble. Polo manages a kick very high. Morton getting a fist on it. Smith liked his game. The longer it's gone, the better he's got. Grundy is tied up. In fact, it was Matner, and the umpire will ball it up with the ball underneath Jack.
Haven't won a game away from Sydney this year, the Swans. They won in Canberra actually against Melbourne, but not a game in Victoria, not an absolute away game as such. Tambling, belting it inside. Good job there by Bolton against the flow. Edwards almost. Then Craig Bolton, little gift to Jude. Well done, Kirk, who's laid. Well, he'd had 14 tackles in the first 3 quarters, Kirk. Moore rode it. Ball up.
That's a solid performance, isn't it? 14 tackles, 7 contested possessions, 5 clearances. That just about sums that bloke up. And Jackson, he's taken Jackson out of the game as well, who's been, you know, a solid ball winner for Richmond.
So the Swans just starting to paddle a bit. But they've done all their good work to lead it by 10 goals.
It really is an energy-sapping style of football. I mean, you just wonder, over the course of a season playing as Sydney do, week in, week out they're doing this. They're stronger in the mind and tackling, I think, than most clubs they play, simply because it's the way they play. We've got a whistle, free kick to Goods. But having said that, to do it every week, gee.
And I think that's one of the questions we've been asking about St Kilda this week, Dan. How long can you play that hard for?
What a result that was, Bruce. I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like that. Drop half the side, or well, without half the side. Whatever you did with them, they weren't there. And you still win against the previous season's premiers. Jack is through. Can he snap a goal? Hit the post. The son of a gun. Hit the post on the run. He's been very impressive today.
Cut off by Pike. He has Jack now.
This will be interesting.
Yeah, he hasn't kicked a goal, Pike.
I don't know that he's had a kick today.
So
He's had 6 handballs, no kicks.
So Michael Pike, the big experiment from Canada, the rugby player turned footballer.
It's an interesting way he's holding the ball there too.
Across the face and a behind. But
well, clubs are going to have to get creative and inventive about the way that they recruit players because of the 2 sides coming into the AFL competition. I don't think it's going to be the last experiment we see playing an AFL side from overseas or another, well, from another coach, certainly not, with Carmichael Hunt coming into the competition as well.
And he's big and he's athletic, so he's got a couple of things going for him, hasn't he?
And last night we saw, Lovett Murray contesting the ruck at one stage with Tim Notting in the centre bounce.
Free kick and a 50. Cousins coming off the ground. 50, nothing to do with him.
Sydney!
Brown
No, come on.
has got the footy. Cousins off with 24 possessions. Short one to Revolt. So do you think, Tim, the next wave of players, as that experimentation you're talking about goes on, could it be African players, do you think, from Eritrea, Somalia? Here's Moore from 52 metres out, long down towards full forward. Plenty of Swans in defence. McGuan left it behind. Nahas tackled too high, gets the free.
In answer to your question, the South Africans, the experiment over there and the amount of work that the AFL have been putting in, the development has been massive in a short space of time.
He's just falling his back.
Free kick to King again then, still looking for a personal best. This not beyond him.
He hasn't been Richmond's worst player today either, Jake King.
No. Well, he's a scrapper, isn't he?
That's right. And his job was to take Reece Shaw out of the competition. He's done that. Reece Shaw hasn't been a factor this afternoon. We haven't seen much run and carry from him. So he's actually he's stuck to his task really well.
King. It's working its way back. Not enough. Behind.
So a couple of behinds in this quarter for King. Got a goal in the first and third. And there's his opponent. He's had a good season, Reece Shaw, as so many players do when they go to Sydney. Mattner the year before him. There's a long, long list.
Well, he's filled that spot, hasn't he, that Ty Kennelly had at Sydney, which is to be that real run, carry, attacking half-back flanker.
And you think, Tim, I mean, Sydney started this season too short. No Fosdyke, he was on their list, no Kennelly. It's a big thing to give away before a ball's bounced at the start of March.
I'll say.
So Roberts Thompson to half, or to centre wing. Edwards' look-away handball. Deledio, quite his match for him. Good tackle again from Smith.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Delidio thought that he was going to be free of pressure. He was under pressure, and then Hislop thought, okay, I might be able to grab this ball and run with it, but there was another Sydney Swans player on him immediately.
And gee, hasn't the tackle count become a badge of honour in football over the last 12 months?
Absolutely. Roberts Thompson to Hanbury. Talking about Fosdyke and Keneally. As the ball comes up towards the wing, Ablett humbled to the line, taken across by Ablett after the miss by White. Interesting too, Sydney's attitude to that. They were very understanding, weren't they? Which I suppose gives them a chance to get Keneally back. From behind, Graham knocked it down.
It's hard not to be understanding though when there's family involved, isn't it?
But even so, I mean, the timing of it was not to Sydney's liking, you wouldn't have thought, but they just accepted the decision. Very professional. Speaking of professional, Tim, I've got a bit of a story. I was reading the other day, and I know you follow the NFL in the USA. A couple of weeks ago, the NFL issued a ruling banning in-game tweeting for guys on the bench. Can you imagine that?
No, I support that.
Well, so do I, but I mean, you wouldn't think you needed a ruling. Talk about roaming the sidelines. Tracking this ball back is O'Dwyer. I would imagine Phil Hughes is the current tweet laureate.
If you want to know anything, just give Phil a call.
But that's where we're headed. But
do you reckon he would have known of the 8 changes that St Kilda were going to make, Phil Hughes?
Probably. No, well, he wouldn't have. Otherwise, he would have tweeted. There's Revolt on the outer side. In amongst the birds, O'Loughlin flies through, knocks it to his own advantage. McGuan's got him. Bolton, now Kirk.
Back to Hanbury. Normally uses it pretty well. Takes off. Decides to go long to full forward. Can he get it all the way to Jolly? Not quite. Revolt cutting it off.
I think it was Terrell Owens that actually took his mobile phone out onto the field one day, and then after he scored a touchdown, picked it up and rang somebody.
A fella called Horn from New Orleans, wasn't it?
Was it Joe Horn, was it?
Joe Horn.
Good tackle by Tambling.
Excuse us, Brits.
No, I'm enjoying it. The season's about to restart over there, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, not far away.
And I reckon Sydney's season for next year's already begun too.
So Pike just wins the tap. Moore. And then Matner. That was clever. Did very well, Matner. And then bangs it inside the 50. Jolly probably should have taken it in the end. Revolt keeps it in.
Jolly is down holding his shoulder. Hopefully he's okay. He's got to his feet behind play. Newman, meantime, around the outer side. Working in front. Gee, this kid's got better and better, Smith.
Well, he's a real find. I mean, if you look at Hanbury, Smith and O'Dwyer just today, on their performances today, they're all going to be AFL players. And Paul Roos said that during the year. He said, we haven't got the luxury of going right back down to the bottom again and then restocking and going forward. We have to stay competitive. And, he's been a wonderful coach so far. Maybe he's going to be able to do that. Maybe they're not going to bottom out the Sydney Swans. Maybe this is as low as we're going to see them drop, and then they'll start to rebuild. They've got some wonderful players that they have to replace, so in Barry Hall and Mickey O'Loughlin, and maybe they'll become really active again during the pre-season trade.
Nahas beyond the wing. Delidio taken down. Matner scrambles after the footy, and the umpire decides he'll ball it up.
So Pike doing most of the ruck work in the final term. Delidio's little give, good. Then Nahas, almost Hislop, outnumbered. Bolton was on his back. It's a free kick to Hislop.
He was down over the football. That's him out there, thanks.
He's played the last 8 games, Hislop, for the Tigers. Comes around, and I reckon Jake King's taken that right on the line. So we've been willing him to get that 3rd goal. He's about to get it.
That's a real win for him against Reece Shaw, isn't it? No, not only has he stopped that run for Reece Shaw, but he's about to kick 3 goals for the afternoon as well.
And there it is.
He fired a favour for a while, Jake King. They decided that he wasn't the type of player that they wanted to play. They thought that he butchered the ball too much. And then they went for skill, and then they wanted to come back and they wanted to get aggressive, competitive players. There's a free kick again, really milking that Tommy Hislop. And this is the one that the coaches actually hate, the one right on the goal line. It should be the easiest one to defend in football, but often you'll see a player just slipping into that zone.
Good on him. Buddy Franklin, Jonathan Brown and Jake King. 3 goals between them this weekend. 18-15 to 10-8. Graham on the way down. Down goes Kirk. And the ball up. So just over 2 minutes remaining in this one, and Sydney have done their percentage. The world of good this afternoon, although in the last term they've eased off a bit. Graham is flattened, he'll get the free. And depending on the remaining result in this round, they could still be alive.
Doesn't miss a trick, Paul. Roos short, straight to the interchange bench after that.
High ball, punched away by Matner, roved by Polo. Morton, now Rance.
And Rance inside the 50, but ill-directed in the end. Probably didn't have a target, to be honest. And Grundy, Hanbury, Barlow, who ran onto the field as a 19th man today and cost them a goal, but he done pretty well in the second half. Goods has been magnificent. Good effort by Revolt then.
He's actually been pretty competitive in the air since he went to Adam Goods. He's given Goods a lot to think about when they've actually been just involved in a mark and duel between the pair.
So against O'Keefe for a throw. Umpire's certainly on to that. Here's Morton. Morton's kick. A difficult one for Hislop. Edwards, that's a terrific pick-up. Good tackle. Vickery caught as well and then slung down. Probably a bit stiff at the end.
He's going to be a player, Edwards, isn't he? He just needs another couple of summers in the gym. He's got to build his body strength up. He's got the running power. He's certainly going to be part of what Richmond are trying to build.
Boundary throw in behind the pack. Down goes Brown. Matner taking a couple of revolutions holding the football.
Go to it, Alex Rance.
Dying seconds of the game. Rance, Morton. High ball. Can Vickery get there? No, he can't. He was off the ball, battling with an opponent. Grundy took the mark. Well, in the dying seconds, this game could have done with some Vickery trickery as Sydney run down the clock. Here's McGuan.
Got it.
Long ball to the pocket. Going back is Bolt, and he takes the mark.
No, closer.
One of those afternoons, Tim. Too much time to think.
You kept the best to last.
Like running into an open goal. And there's one of the best who's lasted. They honour him with a victory. And one of his closest mates really set it up. Adam Goods with 4 goals. Mickey O'Loughlin in game number 300. The smile as wide as the MCG. And his interviewer comes and asks one last question. It's all over at the G. A resounding victory to Sydney. Congratulations to them. 18-15 to 10-8.
So a lot of respect all round for Michael O'Loughlin, creating some history today. First Swan to play 300, did it in style, and he's with Ricky.
Thanks, Macca. Cheers, great moment for you, mate. You must be really proud.
Mate, still pinching myself. This club means a lot to me. I've been around for a long time, and to play the way we did, finish the year off, and I think the boys have done really well.
It must have meant a lot for you too. In the rooms, there was, legends of the club like Peter Bedford and John Rantel presenting with a jumper. Must have been a proud moment before the game.
Oh, look, I walked in there. It was a past players reunion almost. It was walked into the rooms, and as you said, all the champions were there. And
I'm sure Plugger was watching at home too.
Yeah, I got a message from Plug, and look, it was just we just wanted to play like we did last week, without pressure, and I think that's sort of what kept us in the game. And you know, it was just a good effort in the end.
And a crucial win too. It does keep your finals hopes alive. It's a little bit longer.
Oh, you know, I mean, probably our fault. We've got to rely on other results, but you know, this club never lies down. We just keep on having a crack.
Well, just an acknowledgement of your career so far. We'll make it the Richmond boys, Chris Newman and Richard Tamley. Was he with the match ball?
Mate, fantastic, mate. Keep plugging away, mate. Keep plugging away.
Congratulations, Mick. Go and get carried off by the rest of your teammates. Well done, mate.
So final scores here, a classy little bit from Richmond, I reckon there. It was 68 to 123. Plenty of gusto there. I was in the rooms before the game and there was a great feeling. They love